Today we're talking about the classic Bob Marley song, Redemption Song. Definitely one of the best songs ever written about cashing in a punch card at Papa John's for a large pepperoni pizza. Also one of the most underrated, misplayed songs, riffs ever. We're going to go through the opening riff, the chorus, and then I'm also going to do a performance of it with a singer friend of mine at the end. And all of this is sponsored by Original Grain, which is responsible for the bling on my wrist right now. This is the special edition Bob Marley watch, which you can get for the cheapest price ever with the coupon code in the description. We're going to talk more about that later, but let's get to the riff first, okay? So this is in the People's Key, the key of G. A lot of people play this wrong. I hear this a lot. This is iconic, but wrong. Okay, sounds right, but we're missing the slides. The slides is what gives it that characteristic sound. So really, it should be played like this. So it's a subtle difference, but it actually, I think, is worth talking about. It's also worth talking about the music theory behind this and how this is basically just the G major scale, okay? So let's talk about the actual notes. Let's break it into two parts. Part one, and then part two. Okay, so we're gonna start on the G here. Now, I want to start with my ring finger, okay? Because this little slide is the tricky part, but this is what makes it fun. This is actually the fun part. So we start with the G, 3 on the low E string, and then we go G, A, B, G. So those are the first 4 notes, okay? G, A, B, G, which happen to be the first 3 notes of the G major scale, which we'll talk about later and how this pertains to the actual riff, but we got this. Okay, now the reason I want to use my ring finger like this, because now we're gonna go like that. Okay, so I'm gonna take my middle finger, slide from 2 to 3, then I'm gonna go right into the next slide right here. So it's 2 to 3, 1 to 2 on the D string. And then we open up the D string and then hit 2 on the A string, which is B. So, one more time, part 1. Then the slides. Okay, really just practice that. Now the reason that I want to start with this position, dum bum bum bum, because I want to get that middle finger to slide. If you do this, it's like, uh-oh, out of room. Now you gotta do that. That's a lot harder to do. Not that you can't do it, but it's a lot harder to do. Not that you can't buy a Papa John's pizza for full price, but you might as well get it free with the punch card. See it? 2 to 3, middle finger, and then that lines up your pointer finger with 1 to 2. And then we're gonna finish it off. Okay, so that's just G, A, B, D, B, C, B, A, G. Get to know the names of the notes. Not super important. I will also link you to a tab on how to play this with the chord chart. We're also going to talk about the chords in a second. But let's try to use your ear. Don't use a tab unless absolutely necessary. I think tabs actually kind of hold a lot of people back because you get reliant on reading the tab, when using your ears to do a riff is so much better for you and your musicality, especially with something that is so major scale centric. Okay? What I mean by the major scale is the major scale is just a group of notes that sound good together. They all combine to make chords, which we're going to talk about in a second. The notes in the key of G are G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. So we're just going to do them across the lowest 3 strings. 3, open, 2, 3, open, 2, 4, 5. We're only going to skip the 4th fret on the D string as far as this riff goes. We could even number them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the octave, or 1 again, depending on how you look at it. And once you can number the scale degrees, is what that is, then the chords become much easier, the riff becomes much easier, everything becomes much easier. So now let's call it out as numbers. 1, 2, 3, 1, 4, 6, 5, 3, 1, 2, 3, 5, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so again, using your ear is the best way to do that, but you want to get that under your fingers first. One more time. And then we start with the chords. But before that, I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video. These watches are absolutely awesome. I've done a couple videos with Original Grain before, and they are excellent watches. They come in this awesome case, which I'm going to show you right now. You can save over $100 with Original Grain at originalgrain.com/Sean. They're running $100 off Black Friday sale, but you can use the code Sean to get an extra 10% off. This is the highest discount that you will ever find. So what they do is they make watches from reclaimed wood. So they'll do whiskey barrels, they do actual guitar stuff. They've done a partnership with Taylor Guitars, which I've done a collaboration with before. Military ammo crates, even coffee beans for the coffee lovers like myself out there. These are the perfect gifts for your dad, husband, brother, uncle, more, wife. Whatever their interest, there is a unique material and a story behind each one that they'll love. They've been around for 11 years. They plant a single tree for every watch sold. Coming up next year, they're gonna plant 1 million trees, which is incredible. The one with the Bob Marley Foundation is really cool. So this actually has wood from Jamaica, and you can see that like there's a big number 9 there because 9 Mile is the place where Bob Marley actually grew up in Jamaica. So really cool. They got the lion on here. Like I said, inside the case here, there's a couple pics. They've got a couple extra links that you could use to kind of make the watch bigger. It fits my wrist perfectly, just like right out of the box. Awesome. Love Original Grain. Like I said, use that coupon code in the description to get it as cheap as you ever will find these watches. Like I said, perfect for yourself, perfect gift, staying classy, spreading the word, the Bob Marley word. Let's talk about the chords of the song, okay? Now, we're gonna do this easy way first, and then we're gonna do it a little more like the recording of the song, but I think it's worth it to talk about the names of the chords as numbers in the scale, right? So real quick, the verse sounds like this. And then sometimes I see kind of people get this part wrong with the D major part, but this is essentially the verse chords, okay? Now again, we're gonna do what I think is an easier strumming version to start with, and then we'll kind of take it from there. But yeah, we just got a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's a bar of 4, right? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now the numbers are gonna be downstrokes. The word and is gonna be an upstroke. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and E minor, C, B, A minor. Okay, so we're gonna take just this part at the beginning to talk about, right? So 1 full bar of G. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and E minor. Now you'll notice on that 1 count, I'm kind of getting just the root note. And then E. Now, this is the 1 chord to E minor. Remember, G, A, B, C, D, E. This would be the 6 chord, 1 to 6, G, E minor. Now we're gonna go to the 4 chord, walk it back to the 2 chord. Okay, so 4, G, A, B, C, is C major. Now what I'm doing is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I've got a C major. Now I'm swapping the root note out for a B. Sometimes this will be written as like a G. But it's really just kind of like changing the root note, keeping your pointer finger there the whole time. C, B, A. Okay, and then 2 times on the A minor. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and E and 2 and 3 and 4 and C and 2 and B and 2 and A minor. Now in the first part of the song, that just repeats a few times, okay? Now, what I see a lot of people doing, and what I actually do live, just to kind of keep it simpler, to keep it more repetitive, in a way that you can kind of just like play the whole thing over and over again, is to swap that A minor out with the D major chord. Now, technically in the song, this only happens in the subsequent verses, not the first verse, but you can get away with playing a D major, swapping it with the A minor each time, okay? We'll talk about why that is in a second, but just as an example, so the first time, G, E minor, C, B, A, or G, E minor, C, B, D. Okay, now you can play the whole song versus just by going back and forth between those two. And now the reason that you do that right? So that's kind of how it usually goes, right? The D major is the 5 chord in the key of G, right? G, A, B, C, D. 5 will usually lead you back to 1, okay? 5 is like a setup to get back to 1 most times, especially when you're transitioning between parts of a song, right? So between the verse and the chorus of a song, if the chorus starts on 1, usually 5 will be the chord that gets you there. Now, again, that A minor, you can reset the entire verse just on that A minor, and I see people do this a lot. There's nothing wrong with it, you know what I mean? Just like having your own strumming pattern, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm a big fan of playing songs however you want. I know that sometimes I'll play covers and stuff, and people are like, that's not how the song is played. It's like the song isn't meant to be played one particular way for anything. If you can play the song, you're playing the song, right? You're putting your own spin on it, you're putting your own vibe to it. But I do want to point out the distinction between switching between an A minor back home or a D major back home. And especially that D major, going to the chorus, I think sets it up a little better, right? So that's the entire verse. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and E and 2 and 3 and 4 and C and 2 and B and 2 and A minor or G and 2 and 3 and 4 and E and 2 and 3 and 4 and C, B, D. Then go to the chorus. C, D, G. Just 1, 4, 5 or E, 4, 5, G. Okay, so 1, 4, 5 is one of the most popular, common chord progressions in the history of planet Earth. It is the chord progression of the people. What better song of the people than Redemption Song? Fun fact, it's not actually about a Papa John's pizza. That's a joke. Don't blame me for that. I know it's actually just a beautiful song about, what. But we can go to that E minor instead. So It's All I Ever Had. Think of that as being like your tag to go to the E minor and go 6, 4, 5 instead of 1, 4, 5. Okay? But basically the chorus of the song is just 1, 4, 5 or 6, 4, 5. So there is like a lot of, this is what makes the song so cool, is like there is like a lot of repetition, but also it is changing slightly and they're kind of swapping chords out, right? So real quick, we'll do kind of like the traditional chorus where it's 2 times through 1, 4, 5, and then that third time it's 6, 4, 5, and then back to 1, 4, 5. Okay, so 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 1. Okay, now why I was a little fancy there is because the way I play it and the way, if you want to stick around to the end of the video to see me do the performance with it, I like playing 1, 4, 5, and G like this. It keeps your hand in position a little more, and this is something I just kind of learned from like gigging and doing like millions of songs over like 3-4 hour sets or gigs, is this G with your ring finger there, just like we did like that. If you actually have that be the chord, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and C, D. Okay, so I'm just taking a C/G chord, where again, from that G major chord here, where my ring finger is on the 3rd fret of the E string, my middle finger is on the 2nd fret of the A string, my pinky is on the 3rd fret of the B string, right? I can actually just bring my pinky up to the 3rd fret of the A string, my middle finger down a string, pointer finger on 1B, and that's kind of an elegant Bob Marley approved way of going 1 to 4 or G to C, and then I can go 2 frets higher to get a D major sound, right? Not technically just a D major triad. There is a difference between this and this, but you know, it's the vibe, and I think it sounds perfectly fine, right? E. And then we go back into the verses, right? Okay, so you can play the whole song just doing it like that. I do want to talk about the ending of the song, then I want to talk about maybe a more traditional strumming pattern for it, and then we'll get to the performance. Don't worry, all of this is running on time thanks to my incredible original grain watch. These are cool. I actually got another one I'm going to show off maybe in an upcoming video because I don't know, there's something cool about wearing like an actual watch because, you know, we all look at the time on our phone. I just feel fancier wearing like a real watch, not like a smart watch. And I'm making more of an effort to kind of dress up, be a little nicer, be a little classier, be a little more elegant, right on time. Okay, so the end of the song does not resolve, which is a very interesting choice by him. So we kind of go that G, C, D, G, and then he walks it back to an A minor. And then he leaves that on an A minor 6, which is so legendary for such an iconic song. All you do is you take that 2 chord in the key of G, A minor, open A, 2D, 2G, 1B, open E, add your pinky, grab that F sharp note right there, which remember, in the key of G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we haven't been messing with that note that much. Put it on top. And where is that F sharp in relation to A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, right? The 6th note away. So this is an A minor 6 chord. I always used to troll people by ending a song on that, and I thought I was special. Turns out Bob Marley did it before I was even born. Great way to end a song, just leaves it hanging. Super cool, right? Now, I do want to talk about maybe more of like the traditional strumming of this pattern, which is interesting. Okay, so right now we've been going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Very straight, okay? Now the original recording of the song has a little bit more vibe to it, and how he's achieving this is actually kind of getting this little, this off, I want to say it's off tempo. It's almost like a triplet type vibe where it's like down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, right? 1 and 2 and. So the and of 2 is what gets an accent in the original strumming pattern, right? Now I actually ditched the pick for this. I'm just using my fingers for this, but this is something that you might want to take some time to practice because it's actually like a really kind of fun rhythm to get into your muscle memory. I'll exaggerate it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And again, even though these are still on the beat, it's not technically a triple, but why I say it has that vibe is because it's changing after groups of 3, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for the walk back, it kind of goes straight. And then even for the chorus. See, that's a little different. It's steadier, it's kind of more relentless, but it is different than. Which maybe if you're kind of playing it like that, you're not totally getting the vibe. Maybe it's because you want to add that little 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rhythm to it. Something just to practice. It doesn't even have to be this song. It can be whatever you want. it just kind of gives it an extra, like I said, forward motion. C, D, G, C, D, E minor. Okay, I have to resolve it. I don't have the courage. I am not as manly as Bob Marley to leave it hanging on that A minor 6. But yeah, that's the whole song. Definitely a great one to consider learning. And then now here's me performing it with my friend Lulu, incredible singer. She's actually from the Caribbean, or the Caribbean, depending on how you want to pronounce it. So very special song to her. And thank you to Original Grain for sponsoring the video with these watches. Like I said, check these out. They got a lot of really cool ones, too. The guitar ones are great. The whiskey barrel ones are great. The coffee ones are great. And, yeah. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Please hit that discount code in the description. I'll talk to you soon.
Oh, pirates, yes, they're by. Sold out to the merchant ships minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. My hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. I have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause nothing can stop at the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Who's gonna say it's just a part of it? We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption songs, yeah. These songs of freedom, redemption songs, these songs of freedom, songs of freedom. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I cannot resolve that.
Yes.
How does he just leave it hanging on an A minor 6?
Because he's an artiste.
I guess so. Well, thank you, Lulu, for helping out.
You're welcome. I thought you were going for it.
No. I was just scratching my shoulder, and
Ow.
do you notice anything?
Oh, look at that beautiful watch.
It's Original Grain. It's a Bob Marley watch.
I was going to
You're gonna
ask.
yeah,
is it Original Grain?
It's a great price too. You should get one.
Oh, I want to.
Affiliate link in the description.
Oh, no way. I know
Yep.
where to go.
There you go. Thanks so
I
much.
thought you were going for
Nope, not.
the second time you do this to me. I don't see. Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's the hand of the watch, the generous hand.
It is.
It gives you a generous
Because it knows what time it is. So it knows.
time to go.